Thank you, Vikram, for joining in a bit early. It was always something that we all wanted to know more about Krea. So having that extra 5 minutes will be fantastic for everyone in the audience. So welcoming Vikram Patel on behalf of Admissions Campus and Team at Brand. It's a pleasure to see you on our platform every time we do something. So College Fair is, and the team is definitely indebted to you and to Krea University for supporting us. Over to you. The next 15 minutes is all yours, and love to hear more about your esteemed university.
Yeah, thank you so much, Arjun, for organizing this. I think I wouldn't call it a difficult time. I would call it a different time, and for helping us organizing and reaching so many students at this point in time. So I'm really happy that we participated. And to all of you who are listening, thank you so much for attending and caring about your future. I think it's extremely important that we take very wise decisions, understand everything. I think one of the things that all of you should understand here is that all of us from the outreach teams are here to inform you and not influence you, tell you more about what we offer, and at the end of the day, you have to make an informed choice, understand what you really like, and then take that up as a career. We are here just to help you make those decisions. I think before I start any of my conversations, I always like to set some context of why are we even having this conversation, right? If the last 6 or 8 months and the whole public health situation about COVID-19 has taught us anything, it is that the world is going to be more and more unpredictable. I think you've heard this enough number of times saying that the world is changing, but the pace with which the world is changing, especially in the fourth industrial revolution, in something that people call Industry 4.0, is really, really tremendous. And it's fast. We don't know things. Many of you millennials can't think of a world without smartphones, but they were only invented 15 years ago. Words like artificial intelligence, big data, social media marketing, digital marketing, these were all terms that only came about 8 to 10 years ago, right? So it didn't exist before today. And with the pace with which things are changing, you might not hear about some of these things just 5 or 8 years from now, right? So just to give you a context, right? When telephone was invented, it took about 75 years for 1 million users to start using a telephone. When Instagram came, it took 2 years, and when Pokemon Go came, it took a month. Things are changing at a much faster pace, and you have to take into account of how it is changing for you to be able to decide what you want to study as a career and which university you want to go to, right? One of the biggest things that's changing is this interplay between man, machine, nature. When you look around us, right? I think today more of us talk to machines than human beings. Anywhere you go, you want to go to a metro and take a ticket, you want to go to the airport and fly somewhere, you want to go to a vending machine, you have Internet of Things now, Alexa does half the work for you. More and more of this is going to happen. Our interaction with machines is going to increase. And the third angle really is nature. How do what we do impact the environment? We are already seeing the problems of climate change, and things like that. And all of you, whether you want to study commerce or biology or environment or physics or computer science, will have to take into cognizance of how your decision impacts the nature. All right. The second is emergence of jobs that we never heard before. Right. The World Economic Forum report says that 85% of the jobs that will exist just 10 years from now, and let this sink in, guys, that just 10 years from now, 85% of the jobs that humans will do haven't been invented as yet. We don't even know what the jobs are going to be like, right? How do students like you take a decision on what to study? Or how do universities like Krea prepare you for that sort of an unpredictable world? The third is this whole thing of multidisciplinary knowledge. Not knowing one thing is not enough anymore, or studying anything in a silo is not enough. You've seen this over and over again, right? All of us know that some of the international curriculums are doing a very good job in schools. And you understand why, because in an IB or an A levels, you're not a science student, you're not a commerce student or a humanities student. You're studying multiple things that you like together, creating new meaning for yourself and creating something unique for yourself. Even the national education policy of the country now talks about multidisciplinary knowledge. And then there is a set of always evolving skills that are going to be required. So 21st century education requires to cover all of these things. But unfortunately, when you look at traditional Indian education system, especially in the higher education system, doesn't do justice to this. It doesn't give you context. The biology curriculum that you studied 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago has not changed as much. But look at the world. Look at how the world is changing. And education needs to change. It needs to give you, abilities to think, to reflect, and things like that. Right? Look at some of these jobs. We've listed about 6, right? Jobs like AI ethicist. Never have we thought that ethics is going to be a job. But in this world, which is going to be more and more impacted by machines and AI and deep learning, you will need understand. So you will need to understand that we will need people who don't only understand mathematics, mathematical modeling, or computer science, but also understand philosophy and history, to be able to be able to make softwares that are ethical in nature, that doesn't increase inequality, that doesn't violate human rights, that doesn't influence people in the wrong way, which is happening right now, right? Jobs like energy managers, there's going to be so much pressure on companies by governments to use renewable energy that we'll need people who understand environment and economics and physics together to be able to make these decisions. So future jobs are going to be more and more dependent on multiple intelligences, bringing different subjects together and making new meaning of what we do. I think here I'd like to introduce liberal education to all of you. And there are a lot of myths around liberal education. First is that, and understandably so, right? Because a lot of us use the term liberal arts. That does not mean this is only for arts and humanities students. Liberal arts, please understand this, liberal arts is not a subject. Like commerce, like economics, like history, liberal arts is not a subject. Liberal arts or liberal education is a way of learning. And we call it liberal arts and sciences, right? To remove any biases. But it's where you learn something in a very cohesive way. You're learning real life skills along with what you want to study as a domain. And many times what happens is in your undergrad, you're confused. You like economics, but you also like politics. You like psychology, but you also like music. You like computers, but you also like mathematics. So at the age of 17, 18, why should you choose what you want to study? Liberal education allows you to combine these interests and create a unique degree for yourself, right? That's what it truly means. It's not a subject. To introduce Krea here, many of you know Krea is a very young university, right? But I also want to talk about the legacy that we have. There's something called IFMR, which stands for Institute for Financial Management and Research. This is a 50-year-old organization started by Mr. N. Vagul, who was one of the founding chairmen of ICICI Bank. And when he started IFMR in 1970s, it was one of its kind research organization in Asia. And today IFMR has research centers across India and around the world. They have centers like JPAL, which is the Abdul Jamal Poverty Action Lab. And those of you who've heard of Professor Abhijit Banerjee, who's recently won a Nobel Prize in Economical Sciences, most of his work was under the JPAL. And the center, JPAL Asia centers under IFMR. We have EPOD that works with policy design, and they work with Harvard Kennedy Business School. We have iWage that works with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We have LEAD that is leveraging evidence as access for development, which works with Massachusetts Institute of Technology. We have centers that work with Yale, with the US government, with the government of India, and provide a lot of research-based input for policy decisions. And this we've been doing for past 50 years. There's also a business school that we have, which is the IFMR Graduate School of Business, which is now 20-year-old and have been successfully running. So Krea is new. The undergraduate school program is new. The School of Interwoven Arts and Sciences is new, but we still have a legacy that really is firm. I think Krea has one of the most eclectic board of governors and board of people who've come together to start Krea, and truly a fully philanthropic university, which means that not a penny goes to anybody as income, right? It is the money that we earn from the university goes again back into the university, and we run on donor money, right? And you might identify some of these people on the screen, people like Dr. Raghuram Rajan, who was the former governor of Reserve Bank of India, but also arguably one of the top economists of our times. People like Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, who's a pioneer in life sciences research in India. She's the head of a company called Biocon, and so many of their drugs are now being used to treat COVID. People like Rajiv Memani, who's the chairman of Ernst & Young India, Anand Mahindra, who's the chairman of the Mahindra & Mahindra Group, Or people like John H. Mundy, who's the longest serving provost of Stanford University. People like that, scholars, researchers, artists have come together to start a university in India that's going to give you education for the 21st century, that is going to be preparing you to be lifelong learners, that is going to be making you agile, adaptable, ethical leaders, and a university that hopefully will rank someday in the top 100, top 200 in the world because of the quality of education that we provide at Krea. When you talk to anybody from Krea, and if you ever apply to Krea, you will hear this term called interwoven learning very, very often. And this is something that we are pioneering at Krea, right? So let me break this down to you. So there are academic degrees that you can do anywhere. You can do economics from St. Stephen's, you can do it from Madras School of Economics, and they give you good quality education, right? They teach you economics. Now, liberal education comes a notch above that, wherein along with economics, they allow you to do computer science. Along with economics, you can do politics. That's interdisciplinary. Interdisciplinary is different. You're studying two subjects at the same time. Interwoven is a notch higher, which means that we are interweaving the arts and the sciences. And we've come up with 8 guiding principles that govern everything that we do at Krea. You know, things like writing intensive. Doesn't matter whether you're doing history or literature or you're doing biology or computer science. How do you do academic writing, research writing? How do you communicate computer science or your code to a layman? Research, of course, is knowledge creation is part of everything that we do. Ethics, you know, it's easy to teach ethics in a philosophy class, but how do you teach ethics in biology? How do you teach ethics in environment? How do you teach ethics in computer science or mathematics? I think that's what we've been able to do. We have a partnership with the Dalai Lama School of Dalai Lama Center for Ethics and Transformative Services with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and we have an ethics course. Historicity, data analytics. You know, today data is the new language. So even if you're doing economics or you're doing social studies, Krea has data that is immersed into your program. So this model really, I think, is what makes Krea very, very unique from anything that is there around us. The School of Interwoven Arts and Sciences offers 3-year undergraduate programs. We currently have a BA and a BSc honors, and there is an option to do a 4th year of advanced studies, which is optional for you. If you get into Krea, the first year is going to be a foundation year, regardless of what you do. And this is one more advantage, right? You don't have to decide right away. You can come in, do the first year, then decide on what you want to do. And in the first year, if you look at the 11 courses that we have as common courses, you have things like mathematical reasoning. So this is not like the math that you have in school. This is how do you think like a mathematician? You know, you have things like probability and game theory. How do you become comfortable with numbers? You have scientific reasoning. You have things like data analytics and design thinking and introduction to computer science. So basic coding is going to be taught to everyone, guys. You can't run away from this. So anything that we feel is a foundation skill or a course that we need for you to have, we have it in the first year. So that you go through this fantastic mix of subjects and then decide on what you want to do, right? Currently in 2020, Krea has 9 majors, including majors in sciences, social sciences, humanities and arts. We have 15 minors, we have 4 joint majors, we have concentrations, or we have auditing courses. So there's a ton of options. We have more than 150 combinations available for you to take advantage of. So in majors, so just to explain to all of you who don't understand the concept of major and a minor, major is your specialization. So you're doing about 14 subjects in that to get a major. Like if you do economics, you do macroeconomics, policy, things like that as subjects within economics. So you have to do 14 of that to get a major in economics. Now, along with economics, so say computer science. Along with computer science, we allow you to take a minor. Minor is half of it, which means you take about 6 to 8 subjects to get a minor. So imagine doing computer science from a traditional university where you're only learning computers for 3 or 4 years versus a liberal university where you're studying computer science, you're getting enough knowledge. But along with that, you can do psychology. Now, then imagine applying for a job in Google or a Facebook, which is a tech company, but at the heart of it is very human in nature. You understand technology, but you also understand people and behaviors. Along with computer science, you can do economics and get into financial technology or consulting. Along with economics, you can do biological sciences and get into biotechnology. Right? So there are so many options that are available in each of these for you to do majors and minors. Right? We have psychology, which is a science program. There's something called joint majors. So these are courses that go very well with each other. So if you take a joint major in environment and economics, then you do 9 subjects in economics and 9 in environment studies. So like that. There's something called concentration, which is a mini minor. So you don't have to do a minor. Suppose you want to prepare for civil services. You do economics as a major and you do a minor in politics and a minor in history. You can combine 3 subjects together. So I'm not going to talk more about this because I will end up confusing you. But there are a lot of options available. The 4th year is really for you to do. So 4th year is a postgraduate diploma. If you continue to do that, it's deep diving into your major, doing high quality of research. Either you can continue to take more courses from your major or take more courses from your minor. All of those are possibilities. Faculty at Krea, I'd really invite you to go on the Krea website and look at these people because these are phenomenal change makers who've come together. People like Dr. Ramchandra Guha, who's a renowned historian. People like Ranab Bardhan, who's teaching economics, or John Matthew, who's done a double PhD, a biology PhD from Harvard and a philosophy PhD from Old Dominion. People like Professor Gaurav Raina, who's from the Trinity, Cambridge, but he's a super mathematician, data scientist. People like Anil Srinivasan, who's a pianist, and he's worked with A.R. Rahman, Nilay Raja, but his PhD his MPhil is in psychology from Columbia. So people are also from these varied backgrounds. They have different interests who've come together. And these are just 15 that I'm showing you right now, but we have a list of more than 60 faculty members for just 250 students right now that we have at Krea. So amazing people who teach you. In terms of university partnerships and collaborations, we've just begun. But we truly want to give you a global experience right here in India, right? So we have partnerships with the University of Oxford, Cambridge, Stanford, University of Chicago, Berkeley Global, King's College, Northeastern. So these university partnerships would give you research opportunities, would give you opportunities to do summer schools, progression into your 4th year, faculty exchange, all of that. Different universities have different kind of partnerships. And these are some of the opportunities that you will be able to avail. With the Academic Internship Council, students can do internships outside of India. So this is a body that gives internships to even some of the Ivy League universities, like Yale, for example. And Krea is the only university in India to have partnered with AIC. So to get these opportunities. We have an amazing career services office. I'm going a little fast, students, because we have only so much time. But we have an office of career services that would help you with internships, immersive experiences after every year. Every summer, you're supposed to do something, right? And we have fantastic collaborations with the industry to get you these opportunities. We really value diversity and inclusion, right? Krea has, this is the stat for last year, for example, right? Our application to enrollment ratio is sometimes less than 1:10. So we are highly selective in who we want at the university. And they represent almost 40 cities from across the country, 17 states, and also diversity of interest. We have, national award winning students. We have students who published in the New York Journal, published scores of articles, who've chaired, as you said, a Harvard Model UN, who've a blogger with like 1 million followers. You have different kinds of students who come together to create the cohort and community at Krea. We have a vibrant student life on campus. There are about 20 clubs and committees. We have a student government that is very empowered. There are ministries, and students mostly decide the culture on campus. We are located very close to Chennai city in south of India. It's about 70 kilometers north of Chennai, and there we have a 40-acre residential campus. It's extremely beautiful, clean air, a lot of water bodies in the campus. It's really, it's really beautiful. These are some of the pictures of the campus. We have a ton of sports facilities, indoor, outdoor sports available. You can all see all of this on the website. Finally, the admission process and who do we look for in terms of selection, right? This year, so in the first year, we took about 110 students. The second year, we took about 140. This year, we're increasing the class size to 240 because we've got 2 new residence blocks on the campus. And we're expecting a good number of applications to come in this year, right? But what do we look for in terms of application and selection? We are truly holistic in nature. We go beyond your academic interest to see merit in you, right? How do you think? How do you collaborate? Are you aware, self and social aware? Are you creative? Do you have empathy towards others? Do you collaborate with other people? Those are all the skills that we're looking for when we make selections. And as I said, we're need aware, which means that you can apply to Krea. And even if you can't afford the education, we have 100% and 100% plus aid available. Almost 10% of the students at Krea study at full scholarship. They don't pay anything to the university. Almost 30% of the students study at some form of financial aid, right? So you don't have to worry about affording Krea to be applying to Krea. As long as you have merit, you have a place in Krea. These are the two stages of selection. The first stage is an online application form. And those of you who are in the grade 12th, our applications are already open. In the first step, we're looking at online application form, which includes 6 sections: academics from the 9th onwards, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. 12th, we require predicted scores. We also require a term exam result of class 12th. Co-curriculars, Olympiads, online courses, research papers. I mean, this is very, this is something that you can find at the website. Extracurriculars, person story. We do look at SAT and ACT scores, but they are optional. You put all of this in. If you're shortlisted, we bring you into immersion day, which is called the Krea immersive case. There is a case study that we give you. So basically here we are looking at how you think, how you reflect, how you observe, how you communicate. So there are going to be group assignments, individual assignments, reflective essays. There is a paper on quant and logical reasoning, and there is a one-on-one interaction with the faculty. So you don't have to prepare at all. We encourage you not to prepare and be yourself and give it your best. So that's really the selection process. The early application is started. We end the early application on the 20th of November. It's highly recommended that you apply as early as possible. This is the fee structure. It's about 8.7 lakhs per annum. But as I said, we have financial assistance. So anybody with an income of less than 35 lakhs family income can apply. We have up to 100% financial aid available for you. Yeah. Thank you so much. And thank you, Arjun, if I overshot time. I don't know if I did, but thank you so much.
Fantastic. It's always great to know about Krea and listen to your clear way of presenting. Fantastic. So we'll wait for the next speaker and look forward to inviting you to many more such events, Vikram and your team. Let them
Thank you so much.
To have them.
Absolutely. And I must congratulate you. This is a fantastic platform.
It's been a great turnout, and it's been just so heartwarming to see that over 1,100 students participated. And just to be able to put people together and give access to information like this is a dream come.
I'm telling you that we've seen so many multiple platforms, right? I mean, if anything comes close to a personal interaction, I feel that's Airmeet. I think it's a beautiful platform.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Definitely convey to our teams. Thanks. Bye.